Hey everybody, today I have an art journal collage for you. Quite an easy and quick process. I hope you will get a little bit inspired. I'm working with handmade collage papers that are made with the jelly plate mainly. Some are stamped onto old book paper, all that kind of stuff. If you want to see how I make my collage papers, there are several videos on my channel already. So you can check those out. I have already prepared some bits and pieces that I liked together, and I'm adhering them with my Tombow glue stick. If it's a bit noisy in the background, we have a wonderful weather today, and I have my windows open, and we have some animals around our home. I don't know if you can hear the sheeps, and that might be a little bit noisy, but I hope you don't mind that. The paper I'm adhering now is an old book paper that I have stamped with acrylic paint. I really like this for collages because stamping with acrylics gives you a lot of different results. No image is the same, it's always a bit different, and that looks a bit more painterly instead. Here, it's one of these circle stamps from our Pencilmarks number 7 stamp sets. It looks a bit more painted and not stamped, but it's much quicker than painting all these circles, so I prefer using a stamp for these kind of patterns. I'm cutting away the overlapping edges, and then I have a look and see if I want to adhere some more papers that I have prepared, or if I'm happy with the result. The journal that I'm working in is just a cheap sketch pad. It's nothing fancy. It's, I think, under €1 in the Action store, and I love it for collages. The paper is not good, so I would not recommend using the paper purely. But with collage on top, it's perfect, and I love that it's spiral bound, it's small, and if I'm not happy with a page, I always can tear it out and throw it away. I'm bringing in some black to the colorful papers because that makes the papers pop a little bit more, and I really like that contrast. I'm just not sure which paper I want to use on the right edge. I don't want to have this circle pattern that big. I think it should be a bit smaller, so I want to glue something on top. There is a blog post available over on our shop blog with photos of the finished spread, and there are also more information in my description where I've linked up the stamp sets I've used and some other supplies I like using. The papers you see here are mainly jelly prints, and I have used the Leaves number 2 stencil for them. You can see that pattern on the paper. And as I said, I have a lot of jelly printing videos on my channel. Maybe for these papers, I don't have that in mind. I will link up the playlist of the jelly printing sessions in the end cards, so you can check those out. I like to mix between tearing the papers, or cutting the papers, and I also like to mix in the direction I'm tearing them. Sometimes I tear them so I get that white edge, and sometimes I tear them the other direction to not get that white paper edge. And I really like to have a mix of both on my spreads. I have cut off the overlapping papers and I have to say I'm quite happy with the layout. I will leave this as it is and I will add some background stamping and mark making to bring in more texture and interest. And finally I will add a focal image. But first let's do some stamping. I love the mixed media stamp sets we have because there are so many different images on them that are perfect for backgrounds. And I think I'm starting with some words. And this is a stamp that comes with the Collage Leaves #2, I believe. I will link up all the stamp sets underneath. And there are two words together. And I just cut them apart because I just wanted to have one of them. I can't remember which words these were, and I cannot read it here because my screen is quite small, and I'm pretty sure you could see this on a bigger screen. I'm stamping the words just to bring in some texture. And I think I don't know if this is black ink or maybe a dark gray. I can't remember. I often stamp images twice with one time of inking them up, so I get a different tonal shade of them, and that also brings in more depth. As I said, I also wanted to use some mixed media stamps, and this is my favorite stamp. It's on the Mixed Media Marks 1 and also on the Mix It Up one, just a little bit bigger. And these two sets are on sale in April. They are 10% off, so check them out. With our stamp sets, we usually restock them once when they are gone, and then we will retire them. So these two stamp sets will not be restocked once they are gone. So in case you like them, I would recommend getting them now. If you know my videos or my way of art journaling, you know that I love color splatters. I'm using white ink here and I'm making some splatters onto that spread, especially on the black area to lighten it up a bit and bring in some highlights. I also really like how the white works with the white torn edges I have on the page. And I think splatters often help to make a page more vibrant and interesting, and also to bring everything together. I am going to let this spread dry, and in the meantime I'm preparing some focal images. I don't know which one I'm going to use at this stage. I will prepare some more so I can use them on future projects. What I'm doing here, I inked up the stamp with Distress Ink Black Soot. Then I spritzed it with a little bit of water and stamped it to watercolor or mixed media paper. And that gives you a really nice look. It's a little bit more, it looks a little bit more painted instead of stamped because of that watercolory effect. And I also love that black and white on these colorful spreads, and I think often it's enough to have a black and white image as a focal point. And if you want to color those in, I would recommend using alcohol markers because they would not blend in with the distress inks. And if you're using watercolors, it might blend with the outlines, with the black outlines. But if you're working quickly, that should also be just fine. I prepared several images in this way, and I think I'm going to use not one of these, but another one from that same stamp set and also stamped in the same way, like these. Before I'm adhering this leaf, I want to add something underneath to bring in a little bit more dimension and interest. And I really like using just some black thread, and I just curl some up on my fingers, and then I will place it underneath my main image. I usually use some liquid craft glue to adhere everything. I'm also grabbing a Neocolor crayon to bring in some more marks. I really like crosses as a texture, and I really like that they are quite opaque and go on with a lighter color on a darker background. I'm also going in with a greenish color of the Neocolors because that will bring in that green from the left bottom a little bit onto my spread, and I really like that. Yes, and that's my page for today. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I wish you a lovely rest of the week. Bye!